Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to today's video. Today we're going to talk about food and how does the body break it down. How does it, what is the chemical response to food that you put in your body? And I'm going to be getting my face on for the day. I hope you guys are having a great Thursday. I'm using Osmosis Satin Foundation, of course. I mean, I am obsessed with this good for you makeup. This is a natural medium, and I don't have any sun whatsoever. And that color does sound dark, but it turns out to be perfect color. I'm also using Osmosis Concealer because this stick on the end is how us gals with mature eyes, and when we want a perfected under eye that does not crease, that does not gather or crack open during the day, this is how it happens. So food, let's talk about potatoes. A famous saying in my house is, I never met a potato I didn't like. So my husband has heard this many times. I think everybody's heard it many times, heard me say this many times. What's not to like about a potato? Baked, fried, whatever. So let's talk about what does the body do with a potato. Where does it land on the glycemic scale? And what is a glycemic scale? A glycemic scale is kind of the scale that people, doctors, whatever, whoever, nutritionists use to determine a body response to food. Okay, so when we eat a baked potato, the glycemic response, meaning the insulin response, is about the high, almost as high as it gets. It's a 75%, I believe, insulin response. So I've been doing this tons, still pressing in my concealer, kind of just tapping it on in. So I don't have any creasing before I set it. And I just find that with the balm and then the concealer, it is so nice to just kind of press it into the skin. And I just see a couple of places that I want a little bit more coverage. So 75% to a baked potato. That's a huge, huge deal. It means that eating a baked potato chemically inside the body is basically like eating a piece of cake. Why? Because there's nothing to slow down the response. There's no skin, there's no peelings. It's just pure starch of the potato, and the potato is in a family called nightshades. And typically, nightshades have a reputation for having bad chemical responses in the body. Believe it or not, nightshades, not the best thing that the human body loves. There's all kinds of things in that category. And you can look them up. And potato is one of them. Of course it is. I mean, because it tastes good. It smells delicious. And the second I smell a baked potato, I'm like, my brain is like, doing, doing, doing. It's amazing how the brain and the chemistry of the body all just flows together when you smell good food that you know you love. I mean, it happens to me over Mexican. You smell good stuff, and you're just like, heck yeah, we're in it. We're all the way in it. we're going to enjoy this food. I'm just digging for a brush. So, let's talk about frying the potato. So, any other kind of consumption of a potato that slows down the body's chemical response makes the potato harder to get to digest, which means slowing down the chemical response. You understand, if you eat a piece of cake, there's nothing wrapped around a cake to slow down the body's response to that piece of cake. There's nothing wrapped around a piece of bread to slow down the body's response to you eating a piece of bread. So if you have any kind of blood sugar issues, age related, most of us are not born with diabetic issues. A lot of this is food over time and aging complications, because remember, aging is a disease process to the body. So this is why everything kind of shows up on the backside of life, and why you can get away with more stuff when you're young. Now, if you start young and you eat great and clean and organic, good for you. I didn't really know enough about food responses when I was young, and I don't even know if I cared, to tell you the truth. Even though I was pretty much raised in medicine, modern medicine never addressed to me just setting my under eye and my eyelids with some powder. And still, I'm finishing up my tart powder. I have ordered some other powder, that KKW powder, so I'm really looking forward to trying that under eye brightening powder. I'm finishing up my Smooth Operator Amazonian clay. And yes, if you went in with this powder really hard and baked and put your sponge on it and patted it in, you would have dry under eyes. Definitely for mature ladies. So you just use a brush that fits right in this area and sweep it on. And it's okay if you tap on just a little bit extra, because you're going to be wiping it away. Now I'm going to set my face. So I just didn't know, nor as I mentioned, I didn't really care. So now that I'm aging, I really take a lot of time to make sure I'm educated in the latest, most recent studies. Guess what, people? They are just put out a study, a trial. It came out yesterday. Maybe it came out sooner, but that's when I noticed it. I'm going to set my makeup with my Osmosis press-based powder. To die for. I cannot sing this powder's praises enough, especially for mature skin. Even if you have oily skin, dry skin, this powder's rep. Oh my God, there's not enough good stuff I can say, and you can see how it instantly changed the look of my entire face. I do not take this under my eyes. I'm just using it to set my foundation, give myself just a little bit more coverage, because the satin foundation is about a medium coverage, and I kind of like to be completely covered on most days. So the study, the trial, was taking a 43-year-old female patient with type 1 diabetes, insulin dependent. She got a islet cell transfer from a donor pancreas, which means our pancreas is in charge, large and in charge of our insulin, which is considered a hormone in the body. Now, diabetics don't make insulin. Some make 0, some make just a teensy tiny bit. So islet cells are governing cells. So she got a transplant into her abdomen of islet cells. I believe they put it in a surgical gel type stuff to hold the cells in a particular place. They want the cells on the liver per se, because the liver stores our emergency, pretty much islet cells. If you have to get up in the middle of the night and you have been sound asleep, say you have to pee, your liver gets in charge of dumping some cells into your bloodstream to give you enough energy to get up out of the bed and go to the bathroom. So I'll try to keep it as medically light as I can. The woman is now 100% diabetic or free, cured. She's insulin no more dependent. She is making her own islet cells. She is cured. I'm not for sure. I know we do islet cell transplants, and I do know that they mix them with plasma. I also, and they do transplants for islet cells for other reasons. So I know we've been doing this for a while, but now we're getting a better handle on it. So it makes sense that we would cure diabetes with it, because you're diabetic because you don't make enough insulin. Type 2 diabetes is meaning you're insulin resistant. And that means that your pancreas is working overtime, pumping insulin into the body, and your cells membrane has receptors all the way around it. When you're resistant, the receptors stay closed, and they do not let the insulin come into the cells where it's supposed to be. So we do this to ourselves, mostly through a process of eating bad food, meaning food out of a box, food out of a can, all kinds of food dyes, blue number 1, red number 5, yellow number 1. There's, over a lifetime, as we're aging, has an effect on the backside, meaning down the road, your liver, your body is like, guess what? We're done. I've reached my maximum toxic burden. Now you're going to be a diabetic too. You're going to be resistant to insulin. And you have to force the body to open the cells to take the insulin in. Now, you eat a piece of bread, and then people think that they're making good choices by buying whole wheat, because wasn't that what we were all told? That whole wheat was better than white bread. That a brown muffin, wheat muffin, is healthier for the body than a white muffin. Well, it turns out, as we get to figure out chemically how the human body responds to the cells, every cell is very busy. It's always talking to each other from your head to your toes. The body is a busy place. It turns out that the body does not know the difference between whole wheat and white. So that means chemically, the body, and I'm just putting my hourglass powder over the top because I'm not a big matte girl. I just don't think it does us any just like good to be matte at my age. So it actually turns out that whole wheat is no better for us and sometimes worse for us chemically than the white. So it turns out there are no favors of buying whole wheat versus white bread. Now, you think like the bread is grittier, grainier, like you're chewing it, and it has a lot of texture. And that's supposed to slow down the body's response. So the bottom line to the body's response is, what kind of flour is it made out of? There's your key. If it's made out of processed flour, the way Americans process their flour, chemically, there is absolutely no difference. I'm using my Anastasia Soft Glam. Haven't used it in a hot minute, so just going to use it today. And I'm going to go light. So, how do we help ourselves on the backside of life maintain? And then a lot of people show up later with fatty liver syndrome, and that's because, and say you're at a good body weight, it is simply because of food choices. The liver is coughing, it's saying, it's speaking to you and telling you it has reached its maximum toxic burden. My recommendation, if anyone out there has fatty liver, that means that you can no longer eat any kind of chemicals, food chemicals. This is almost, you have to read your ingredients. Just take the few extra minutes to read your ingredients. If you see high fructose corn syrup, move away. If you see dyes of any color, move away. If you see hydrogenated in anything that you eat, don't eat it, because this is not food, people. This is not food. I cannot stress to you enough that a lot of stuff in our grocery stores that you can pull off the shelf isn't really food. It's not real food. The key to real food consumption is if you can't shoot it, pick it, and there's another one. Oh my gosh, I know it's shoot it and pick it, then don't eat it. Okay, that is a rough rules. I know, it's depressing. Like, depressing. I get it. I'm right with you guys, but I want to age better. I'm aging the new way. So for me, it's worth it. And I just allow myself cheating time. And that doesn't mean 3 days a week. That doesn't even mean once a week sometimes. Sometimes it means once every couple of weeks. If my brain is feeling great and I'm feeling healthy, I'm feeling really strong, there's no reason I don't pop up and go, oh, I want a candy bar. And I'm not a candy bar person, but my cheat food is probably a Werther's. It's like the only candy, hard candies with no chemicals in it, which is bizarre. I guess it's not bizarre because I can remember my grandparents eating Werther's, so something to be said about that. If I want an ice cream, we'll buy organic. We don't buy the chemical stuff. And organic means the cows were not chemically induced, meaning they didn't get growth hormones, they didn't get antibiotics, they were free cattle, like they're supposed to be. Cattle, chickens, they were never meant to be cooped up in small pens and expected to remain healthy, because they can't. So that's why they give them many hormones and chemicals to grow them quicker so they can slaughter them quicker. And so they don't get sick standing in each other's excrement, because they're on a lot when they should be free And that is a big, big, big deal. Free cattle are healthy. Um, they're supposed to walk around and eat. They're not supposed to stand in a lot. I know we have to get it done however we have to get it done. I guess. Like, I'm totally against it. I just think we have so much land that we could find a way to let every cow be free. But it's also harder to have free cows. It's more time consuming. You have to have horses or hence vehicles to round up the said free cows. I get it. But we did do that on a regular and we did just great with it. So I'm not for sure. Maybe money. I'm sure money came down to be the bottom dollar to that. It's cheaper to put them in a lot and pump them full of chemicals than it is to let them be free. I'm just putting on a little bit of concealer on my eyelids and I'm going to tap it in. If you have any type of wrinkly type eyelids or creasing, saggy lids, you're aging, the skin is looser. I've been trying this trick of putting on my concealer and I either use my sponge or a brush and I just move it around, get it all smoothed out. A very thin layer will do you. And then you kind of, not before it's completely dry, then add your color that you want on your eyelids. And then it will help your eyelids not to be all like, have cuckoo clock time, people. I mean, come on now. And I think my clock's a little early, so sorry. It seems like I can't sit down to film without my clock having, it's time to do its thing. So I'm going to tap on just some light shadow. This is Julia's Place, the most pigmented eyeshadow ever made on the planet Earth. And for the best freaking price. These shadows do not fall out. They have almost zero kickback. It is, I cannot speak more highly of this brand. She makes amazing products for an amazing price. Their palettes are, I think this was $25, even cheaper than my Jaclyn Hill Morphe palette, which, don't get me wrong, I adore, but these Julia's Place palettes are amazing. You get all your bang for your buck. And there's discount codes. You can even get them even cheaper. I know a lot of beauty girls on YouTube list their discount codes right at the bottom. So you can just, go to their channel, say Jaclyn Hill, Nikki Tutorials. They list their discount codes, Laura Lee. And you can go to the website, pick out your product, use their discount code. It saves you sometimes 30% on your purchases just by using a discount code. And hey, I'm all for having a little discount. Now, I've got these Tarte Precision eyeliners, and this is charcoal, and I'm going to give it a try. I can't seem to, I haven't figured out if I like them yet, so we're working on it. So, food. There's a lot of cans that I'm going to try. I don't know. I'm going to try to put this down and hold my eyelids since I have looser eyelids. And yeah, this is not an attractive view. Sorry, people. But I'm going to try to hold my eyelid a little tight so I can use this pencil. It's very creamy. going on. And I want to keep it as close to my lash line as possible. And the wind-up part is almost so stiff, it just seems like it's not working. But I'll figure it out. So food. There's some canned food that the inside of the cans have been tested and in studies, and they have hormones lining the inside of the can. Yeah, does that sound crazy? It sure does. But it actually happens. It helps. This is why we have young girls going into early not menopause, listen to me, having periods at 12 years old, 10. There's been documented cases of 9-year-olds going in to have their hormones early. This is because of the hormones in the food chain. If you can even understand a word I just said. Hormones in the food chain makes our little girls grow up too quick. So I got my line too high for me, so I just used my wipey, wiped it off. I'm gonna tap over it, and that's fine. Now, this is why everyone is like, oh, even my pediatrician, which I'm going to be honest, I'm not a fan of pediatricians. I'm not for sure that their training does children much good. I know, it's controversial. Just someone take me out and, hog tie me. But you definitely, when you take your kid to a pediatrician, study, know your stuff. Know exactly what you're talking about, know what you want, know what you don't want, meaning what chemicals do you want put into your child. Yeah, I cannot figure this out for the life of me. And it's so hard to use when you can't roll your product up. So I will get back to you guys on the lesson of my Tarte eyeliners. They're super creamy though, so I'm hoping once I kind of get the groove of the mechanical part, that it'll be really easy to work with. And I'm just winging it out just a little tiny bit, which on this camera angle is so daggone hard. So hard to look in here and go, oh yeah, that's so cool. So, I'm still telling you the moral of the story is a great value brand in Walmart has probably, turns out, half the chemical load as some of its sister brands. Check your labels, read your ingredients. You'll learn fast which brands you like. They're cleaner, they're tolerable, you can accept what's in them and still be healthy. It's not about being perfect all times. It's just about lowering your toxic burden. So, food is just like the very tippy top of what your body's exposed to on a daily basis. I keto a lot, which means I'm fasting. I'm trying to cure the supposedly uncurable disease of type 2 diabetes. I told you guys when I started the journey that My A1C was terrible. It was terrible. Um, it's pretty bad. It was pretty bad. And you cannot live a life like that and not have bad stuff happen later. My pancreas has to do its job. We have to force my brain to accept normal blood sugars, which actually my body did feel like crap at a normal blood sugar level. I mean, to me, it felt like I was dying. That's because my body was basically addicted to higher insulin levels, blood sugar levels. And your body adapts and becomes used to the new normal. And the new normal is bad. Way, 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 way bad. So when I first started this journey, my normal blood sugars were in the 200s. That's just terrible. It's god awful. Pounds make a huge difference in blood sugar readings because that holds a lot of different things in females. It holds estrogen. Every fat cell has its own life. It doesn't want to die, people. It wants to live. So it is a battle to shed the pounds because you're forcing your body to become a new normal. You're forcing the body to accept a new normal, which is normal body weight within reason. I'm not saying you have to be a 4, okay? I'm never going to be a tiny person. I just want to be height and weight proportionate. That's the key. And so now my blood sugars, my readings, I take them once or twice a day. I've only had one over 200 in the last 2 months. My blood sugars, I've even actually now begun, I've had 3 blood sugars under 100. I didn't feel the best, but I made my way through it. Never feed a low blood sugar unless you're under 50, because you're telling your brain to accept the new normal, which is actually completely normal blood sugar. The lower your blood sugar, the better. And there goes my nose. That's so attractive. So, lower the better. I mean, if you could walk around in your 40s all the time after food, you'd live to be, I don't know, 150. And that is science. That's not just crazy Trish saying, oh, where does she get all this stuff? I study. If I'm sitting down watching my shows, most likely I'm also have a set in my ear and I'm listening to a medical lecture or I'm reading studies because it's that important. I don't want to feed my child, my 11-year-old, the same things that I fed my older child. One, I didn't know. So now I know. So I try, my best to give us organic food, organic vegetables. And yeah, she still gets her little snack treats. I don't want to take everything from her because she's a kid. So she can afford some junk. The key is some. Not on the daily. Some. So she gets her cupcake or whatever it is, and she does not drink any soda. If she does, it's root beer. And it's only when we go to, say, the QT for a little break. Say we all want a QT soda. So I don't get one, but she does, and the husband does, and she's very happy with her, her root beer. May be the best choice there. It doesn't say diet, so that's a good thing. And so when she wants a snack food, I read the ingredients and make sure there's no chemicals. It's just sugar. Sugar is very bad for you, don't get me wrong. But at least we're only dealing with one bad and not five bads. So that's how I base buying, her cheat food or her kid food per se. Oops, sorry guys. Other than that, she eats what we eat, except for she doesn't eat salad, and we do eat a ton of salad. But what can I say? Read your labels. Take the time to read your labels. It's so important. Pizza. Remember, that's a lot of gluten. The red sauce is, if your gut is not balanced, can be very upsetting to your stomach and your bowel. That's why when you're older and you eat something, packed full of stuff, packed full of gluten, packed full of sauce, packed full of cheese, the body's like, ugh, let me have an attack because I'm responding to what you just put in me. So now it has to run basically a marathon on the inside to catch up with what was put in it. So be kind to your body, be kind to yourself. I'm still working on that, being kind to myself. Still pushing, still working out. I've stopped running for a little while. I think I'm down to walking, weights, and elliptical. The full-on running, after a while, my knees did start to hurt. It's very hard on the body, but technically, medically, running is the fastest way to reshape the body and get cardio for your heart. Yeah, it's brutal. It's brutal on the body's joints. Yeah, running. But I did it. I can run. It's just that at my age, running, after I've been doing it for a while, my joints do start to hurt. So when they hurt, I listen to my body's music. My knees were hurting, my ankles were hurting. And that's strictly from the pounding of running. And I always run on a treadmill, not outside, because the treadmill is taking some of that percussive force for me. If you're on cement and you're my age, in your 50s, that's a lot of percussive force that's not even going into the earth. The earth can't help you through cement. So I'm not trying to discourage you, but if you have joint pain, listen to your body, cut back on running, get on the elliptical. You can keep your cardiac effort up on the elliptical without the pounding on the joints. So still on the journey. I'll remain on the journey. It will be nice when I get to my target weight. Maybe I can just step back just maybe one day a week on my efforts. But I'll never be cutting back on my hormones or my supplementation. Maybe I should just take you guys with me. And I know the videos are long, people. I get it. I can't seem to figure out how people make. I used to post them in 2 parts, but I don't know. Is that any better? Of course, really nobody talks to me in these videos anyway, so I'm just going to keep doing what I do and putting out their information. And, one of these days it's going to pay off. I don't know when, meaning more people will get the message. And they'll want to ask me questions and interact with me. And until then, I'm just going to keep plugging along. So I really appreciate your time, and I appreciate you being here. If anyone ever wants to ask me a question, just put it below, and I will answer you back. There's a lot of things to talk about for the human body, especially the aging human body. Things are different as we age, and you just have to keep the maintenance a little bit higher because we're aging. So let's all age together in the new way. Love you guys. Bye.